On beautiful people, it is Alex August with Alex's thoughts. Just some thoughts as I wrap up my conversations with Veronica the Explorer on the most recent live stream of VividLife TV. And I immediately just had like some thoughts as we were conversing. Obviously, I've known her for over 10 years, so I have a lot of just synergy in our conversations because we talk about these kind of things all the time. But I didn't want to like hijack the show and hijack the stream with just so much more, conversation that is centered around me and my thoughts versus her and her own experiences. So I wanted to kind of come and just kind of shoot this video real quick and just talk about three things that I really want to emphasize as you wrap up watching that live stream. The first one is that there's a requirement that we all have to to uphold for ourselves, and I'm just reading it off here. There's a requirement that we all have for ourselves to uphold, to appreciate where we come from, and what we've been through, right? That's the difference maker. That's kind of our fingerprint into who we are as individuals, who we are as adults, right? And that's really even who we are as creatives. I think on my storyteller theme, I talked about, when I was younger, my mom used to pack printer paper for me and give it to me to go to school so that I could doodle in class and I wouldn't doodle in my composition notebook or in my paper. Like I had just disposable paper at any given time to just write, doodle, and kind of just create nonsense on. And that was a life changing experience because it helped me and gave me an avenue to channel my creativity into when I was finished with my schoolwork, right? I could sit still, shut up in class, not disturb anyone else, and then just like draw a bear on paper. And that helped me become a storyteller. That helped me become a better writer because I was always doodling and writing. Similarly, in our content creation world right now, I think the reason why it's important for us to uphold that for ourselves is that so that we don't ever look at other people's content and think about how much we want that or how much we would do better with what they have, or maybe we're not even thinking about any thoughts at all and it's just striking an emotion of envy. That's what's leading us right now to this space that we're in right now with what they're calling envy content and envy lifestyle envy, and envy economics. A lot of people, unfortunately, aren't upholding a respect for their own journey and where they've been and what they've been through. And so there's always a space for us to look through a glass and find something that someone else has that we want, whether it's the lifestyle, the money, the cars, the women, the shoes, the traveling, or just the way people enjoy who they are could be something that becomes part of that envy economics and that envy lifestyle. Content creation and social media should not be the gateway drug for people to get to that point. And so the big question that we all have to ask ourselves is, how do we as content creators help foster people to have the realization that they should appreciate who they are versus looking on the internet and hoping to be someone else or to have what someone else has? My immediate thought is to say authenticity, transparency, storytelling, more value based conversation. But the reality is, people might not really take that or look at that or listen to that if it's not coming from someone who has ultimately what they want on social media, which is a large following. Hey, look, I get it. I got 107 subscribers here on YouTube. You might not want to take advice from me, but also someone out there might have thousands of subscribers, maybe even hundreds, maybe a couple thousand, some of which might be real, fabricated, fake, paid for, whatever. And they know exactly how you start to act when you see a comma in the subscriber section. They know exactly how you're going to act when you see a verified check on their social media profile. Because, see, I did an experiment where I paid for my meta verification. Anyone can actually pay for it. It's $14.99 a month. And when I paid for that verification, the experiment that I wanted to look at was, how do people treat me differently when they see that I'm verified on Instagram versus when I'm not? And I'll tell you what, I only have 2,100 followers on Instagram. But when people saw that check, they immediately acted different. They immediately wanted me to follow them. In fact, they wouldn't even give me my phone back. They would take my phone and they would follow themselves and then follow me back. See, we're part of a conveyor belt food system that is constantly feeding people a desire to be seen, looked at, and validated. I'll let you know straight up. I opted out of the verification program. I'm no longer part of it. The experiment proved everything it needed to prove to me, is that there are people out there who have very high quality, very important, very life-changing content that we will completely walk over if they don't have the comma in their subscriber list, or the comma in their follower count, or the star, or the verification, whatever the case may be. And so you don't have to listen to this advice. Continue being on social media, continue looking at the big guys who are selling you all the time on a dream of how you can be bigger, how you can be seen, and how you can beat the algorithm. There's always, always, always something to sell you. And so for that reason, a lot of us are very vulnerable. And I want to say, again, content creation and social media should not be the gateway drug to envy. It shouldn't be that. You should be able to watch somebody's content, their shared experiences, the experiences that they wish to share with people, without thinking about, I wish that was mine. Because why are you subjecting yourself to following someone that you want to be the hater of? It's not that's not a wise decision. That's not a healthy decision either. And so my last point is, there is a lot of wisdom to appreciate. There's wisdom to be appreciated from people who are choosing to slow their lives down. Veronica talked about moving from South Florida to New York and then to Tampa, and being able to just slow things down a little bit as she's grown a little older, a little wiser. I'm also from Miami, Florida, and I 100% never wanted to be part of the lifestyle that is in my hometown. The nightclubs, the bars, the hopping, the the champagne, the all of that jazz. I've never wanted to be part of it. And that's why I left in 2008. I did not want to try to fit into a lifestyle like that in the middle of a recession. Gas was $5 when I left Miami. I'm straight, bro. And so when you think about all of the content creators who are also leaving social media, there's also a piece of wisdom that should be taken from all of those people. Please don't look at all of the creators on YouTube who have recently retired and think to yourself, well, God dog it, that's one less person I've got to compete with. I'm going to keep pushing forward. Listen to the wisdom about what they talk about. If you're unhappy now with what you do, you will be unhappy when you reach that number. It's just scaling up your unhappiness. It's just like traffic. Adding lanes to a highway doesn't reduce traffic, it just scales it up. You're just scaling how many more cars can fit and be jammed on the highway. If you can blow $10,000, you can blow 100,000. And if you can blow 100,000, you can blow 1,000,000. So this is things we got to think about. And this is why I say, and this is why I think that it is so important that we continue to be as human as possible and being as vulnerable as possible with respects to boundaries, obviously. But we have to be as human and open and transparent as possible on social media so that these pieces of advice are real and they live forever. This is evergreen content. These are evergreen gems that we just had in conversation. And I hope that you can find time to check out that stream with Veronica the Explorer and to check out all of my interviews of Vivid Life TV. Reason why I even created the concept of the Vivid Life in the form that it's taken now and the way that I'm doing Vivid Life TV is because I wanted to make sure that I stated this very, very clearly. I wanted to make sure that I stated this very clearly, that the Vivid Life is not something that I alone can live or I alone am living. This is something that we all can experience. Being on a journey to our purpose, finding endless adventure in everything we do, individual celebration and understanding what your individual contribution is to the greater good, collective effort, knowing that we are better as a community and better as a group in our numbers and our connection than we are alone. And lastly, stars and roses, knowing that all of this has to make sense to something that is greater and bigger than us. That is what a vivid life is. And that's why I told Veronica, you're damn near living the vivid life. Going from Trinidad to Key West, South Florida to New York to Tampa, all very completely different places. But then also recognizing how each city helped you evolve into the person you are today. If we're growing, then we're knowing where we came from. And if we're not growing, it's because we're unable to acknowledge what we're becoming or what we've ever been in the first place. They say 58% of people don't have an inner voice, which means they're just operating. And that's me guessing, because I really can't figure out how that even happens. Like, what do you hear? But anyways, 58% of people in a poll suggested that they don't have an inner voice. Hopefully, the 58% of those people, or whatever scale that is in our entire population, are not on your feed with no inner voice, creating content that is triggering your inner voice. That's Alex's thoughts. Just wanted to drop that here for you guys and to check out, again, Vivid Life TV right here on I Am Alex August. Signing out.